Hello, and welcome to IPTM Instructor Spotlight. We're glad you're able to join us today to get a closer look in the behind-the-scenes action here at IPTM. This month, we're excited to introduce one of our subject matter experts and crash investigation instructors, Carlos DeJesus. Welcome to the show, Carlos.
Thank you so much for having me.
So our viewers can get to know you better. Would you mind telling us how long you've been in law enforcement and what your current position is?
Yes, I've been in law enforcement just over 20 years, and currently I'm assigned to the Traffic Homicide Investigations Unit at my agency, the Broward Sheriff's Office in South Florida.
Great. Tell us about how you transitioned into the training aspect of law enforcement.
I began my career in training in 2012 when I became an adjunct instructor at the local police academy. And then in 2015, I guess you could say I was noticed here by fellow instructors at IPTM and asked to join the adjunct faculty here for IPTM. And so I've been instructing crash investigations since that time, since back in 2012 and 2015 with IPTM.
Great. Well, we're glad you're with us, and we appreciate all that you do for us. I know you've experienced some out-of-the-box cases, but can you tell us about one of your cases where you were able to utilize IPTM experience to solve or work the case?
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the really unique things of the training here at IPTM. It's always meant to be very practical, and that's exactly what I was able to do once after receiving the training, is be able to immediately put it into use. So one of the cases that I'd like to talk about is a hit-and-run investigation that I completed, and how the training that I received here at IPTM helped to investigate this case.
Okay.
So we're looking here at, this was as I mentioned, a hit-and-run investigation involving a vehicle and what is commonly referred to as a motorized moped, or a skateboard with handlebars, to kind of describe what it looks like. And as I arrived on scene and began looking at the physical evidence, I noticed that while cases like this are typically handled just like a vehicle versus pedestrian crash, there was physical evidence made available that wouldn't normally be made available to me in such type of crash. And that was because in the impact, the back tire of the motorized GoPed was locked and basically produced this skid mark that we're seeing and these scrapes that we're seeing in the roadway. Also, as I continued to walk through the scene, I noticed vehicle parts that appeared to be freshly deposited out in the roadway. Didn't appear that they had been there for very long, giving me some insight into what vehicle or what color vehicle I might be looking for. And as I continued to walk the scene, additional vehicle parts were able to be identified, as in a side mirror. And then just continuing to follow this line down, other things that I began to notice based on the physical evidence is that there was a change in direction of the vehicle. As we saw, the skid mark left by the GoPed began on the far right of this lane and kind of arced out towards the left, letting me know that there was a change in direction, if you will, of this vehicle. Also, what I noticed is that at the end of the tire mark, I then noticed this scrape, and the next question in my mind is, okay, well, this scrape tells me that the scooter should be, or this moped should be there at the end of the at the end of this scrape, which again, that's all from my training, indicating that, okay, this is what the physical evidence is telling me, which is extremely important to just let the physical evidence tell you what is going on. And then, of course, I was able to ask and find out that, yes, the GoPed had been moved. So it was good to see that my training was, the training that I received was directly applicable immediately upon going out there and actually working a real case. Also, part of the training helped in that we were able to distinguish and say, okay, well, based on the vehicle parts left on scene, based on where the area of collision was on the roadway, I should expect to find damage to a certain area on the vehicle. So that information was used to put out a press release, and we were able to be specific enough and say, okay, we're looking for this type of vehicle, this color vehicle, and we expect there to be damage in a specific area. And what that did was it actually allowed observant citizens to let us know rather quickly, okay, we think we found your vehicle. And so these are just some of the parts that were located on scene. And we were able to identify some part numbers, and also there we see an emblem for the manufacturer. So with this information, we were able to rather quickly kind of figure out what we were looking for. That part there that's stuck in the back of the GoPed is what locked the tire and caused it to leave essentially that tire mark in the roadway. You can even see a bald spot there on the bottom of the tire itself where it would have been scraping along the roadway. So all of this physical evidence and the ability to have it speak to me, if you will, is all because of the training received here at IPTM. So as I mentioned, we were able to very soon receive a tip on the vehicle or possibly the vehicle involved. And this is what we're looking at now is pretty much the condition of the vehicle when we arrived to where the tip said the vehicle may be. And what we were able to do with those parts that were collected from the roadway was almost play like a jigsaw puzzle. And we were able to just bring them right up to the vehicle and show, hey, look, it appears pretty consistent that the parts we found on scene do in fact belong to this vehicle. And we're just literally taking photographs of us holding those parts up to the general area where we would expect them to be and showing that they match the vehicle. They mirror the other side of the parts that are still there. So this case was actually a really interesting one. It did turn out to, we did go to trial, and we did get a successful conviction on the hit and run. We were able to identify the vehicle and then the driver, which is also things that we learned in our hit and run investigation at scene. The pyramid, as I like to call it, of understanding that we need to first identify that the victim is related to the vehicle, that the vehicle is related to the driver, and that the three are all from one case.
Thank you, Carlos, for taking time out of your busy day to sit down and chat with us. We look forward to seeing you in June at the Symposium on Traffic Safety. This is the first of many future IPTM Instructor Spotlight segments. Be sure to watch our weekly Spotlight update for events occurring at IPTM and when the next Instructor Spotlight will occur. Have a great week, everyone, and we will see you here next time on IPTM Spotlight, where we continue to train the next generation of law enforcement.